Oh no, the appraised value came below the purchase price. What do we do now? Stay tuned for it. Hey, Scott Himelstein with the Scott Himelstein Group. Welcome back to our video vlog. So before we talk about today's topic, what happens when the appraised value is underneath the purchase price? Reminder, if you're a home seller, check out our free home value report. And if you're looking to purchase a home, we have our free MLS search tool for properties all over Southern California. All right, so if you're a buyer and you're obtaining financing, your lender or bank is most likely going to require an appraisal be done at the property. And what does that mean? That means they're going to send out a licensed appraiser to determine what the fair market value for the home is. And that's because that the bank will only lend what the fair market value is. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense as an investment for the bank to offer you a loan. So what happens when the actual appraised value is actually underneath the actual purchase price? Well, it doesn't mean the deal's dead, and there's some option that you should be aware of. So first, let me give you a couple of examples. So literally in the last 35 to 45 days, we've had 3 homes appraised way underneath the actual purchase price. We've had one that was 85,000 under, we had another one that was 50,000, and another one that was 35,000, and we were able to resolve all of them. So let's give you an idea again what that actually entails. So option number 1, and this is what we had with one of our buyers, is that the appraised value came in 85,000 under what the purchase price was. And in this case, because the seller didn't want to do much of a reduction on it, so the buyer was actually able to bring in more cash. And that is an option that you have as the buyer, that you can bring in the amount of the difference. So in this case, it was 85,000. The seller, I should say, was able to reduce the price 15,000, and the buyer brought in the difference. So again, option number 1 is you can actually bring in the difference between the appraised value and the actual purchase price. And at the end of the day, the seller, that's going to be the best option for the seller, because the seller wants to get as close as possible to the actual purchase price. So option number 2 is that you find a middle ground, like we were talking about just now. So when you find a middle ground, maybe the seller reduces and the buyer increases their down payment to reach a middle ground. Because at the end of the day, it's in the best interest for the seller to find a solution that works for them also, because most likely you're probably going to have the same problem again with the next buyer with appraisal. So we just had a situation where the appraised value came in $35,000 less than the actual purchase price. And in that situation, we had actually prepared our seller saying that most likely the appraised value was going to come in less. So the sellers, even though the offer that they ultimately ended up accepting and closing at was $45,000 over the original list price, but they were somewhat disappointed that they didn't get the full amount because we had to reduce the $35,000 off the purchase price. But they were still very happy with the situation because they were able to close in such a short amount of period of time. And the third option, if no resolution can be reached, is that you as the buyer have the right to be able to cancel the contract and get your deposit back. This is why it's so important for you as the buyer to make sure that you keep your appraisal contingency in place. So those are the options that you have. And one other question that we really get a lot for both buyers and sellers is that if there is a difference between the appraised value and the purchase prices, hey, can we fight it? And the answer is, while yes, you can fight it, very rarely does an appraisal or the appraisal management company actually change the appraisal report. Are they willing to do so, even if you have comparables? So keep that in mind. And a lot of times it takes 2 to 4 weeks to rebut an appraisal report. So if time is of the essence, it may not make sense to do so. And you're probably better off trying to work out a solution with the buyer. So those are the ways that you can actually refute or deal with an appraised value issue. If you have any other real estate questions, give me a call today, 818-396-3311. That's 818-396-3311. And thanks again for watching our video blog.